Hello everyone, Tina here for Pinkfresh Studio. I hope you're having a fabulous day. Thank you so much for joining me this Thursday. Well, I have a fun project to share with you. We're using a stamp set. It's a cling stamp. It's called Berries and Blossoms. I don't know about you, but I love fall. Fall's just around the corner, but I'm not ready to let go of summer just yet. So we're going to bring in some blooms and some strawberries. We're going to be using the coordinating die, and then we have the stencil. We're going to start by stamping, and I'm going to stamp 4 panels today. I want to create a wreath with one particular flower set. I really like this one here, so I need 4 of them to complete my wreath. I'm using my Pinkfresh Studio Licorice ink. And we'll go ahead and ink up our cling stamp. I love cling stamps because the images are so crisp. Let's bring in our stamp press. Give that a good press. Wonderful. Okay, and then I'm going to do the same thing 3 more times as I mentioned. So let's go ahead and place this in here. Now we have all 4 panels stamped. I'm going to bring in my grip mat and some inks, and we're going to start our inking. There are 5 stencils, and I do want to mention too that they have corner markers for A2 panels, so you know exactly where to put your A2 panel, and they're indexed, stencil 1, 2, and so forth. So that makes it very nice. So I'm taking stencil 1, we're going to line this up. Stencil 1 is our leaves. So for this I'm bringing in Spanish moss ink. Just going to add a little ink to my blending brush. And we're going to lightly go over this. Now we're going to go ahead and layer our second stencil. For stencil 2, I'm using Paradise ink. I always like to wipe my stencil off while it's on my grip mat. It makes things a little bit easier. Now let's take a look. Beautiful. Let's bring in our next stencil. For stencil number 3, I want my flowers here to be daisies. So I'm actually going to mask these off. Okay, and then I'm bringing in Candy Apple for my berries. Now I'm going to go in really light, and then I'm going to bring in my detail blending brush, and then I'm going to go heavy on one side of my strawberries. To me this gives them a lot of definition, and I love doing this, but I'm just doing it on the strawberries. Let's take a look. Beautiful. Now we're going to add stencil number 4. I'm bringing in my Raspberry Bliss. It's going to turn that blue in the center of these flowers purple. And we'll go ahead and wipe these off and we'll take a look. For stencil number 5, I'm going to use my Spanish moss, and we're going to go over our strawberries and our flower centers here. And we'll take a look. I'm going to go ahead and die cut out my panel using the coordinating die. And I just love that there's just one die that will cut out all these flourishes. I will line this up, run these through, and I'm going to do 5 the exact same way. I will have lots of florals left over, but these are the main florals that we're going to be using on our card today. So I'm going to put these to the side, and then I'm going to bring in my BetterPress system. We're going to create a frame using the Decorative Frames press plates. This will create lots of frames. I'm just going to layer this right in the middle. And I'm going to BetterPress on some porcelain cotton A2 panels. What I'm going to do is add this. I'm going to add my panel right over my frame. And then I'm going to add some adhesive, just a little bit. And then I take my top plate and I can give it a good press. So that cotton card panel is now on the top plate. And we're going to press with some Paradise ink. It's the same ink we used for the florals here. And I'm just going to add some ink here. I'll bring my cotton card panel over. We'll just attach that top plate and I will run this through my Platinum 6. Look how beautiful those frames are. Gorgeous. Now I'm going to take the coordinating die and I will cut out my frames. They line up really easily. We'll just tack these down. Add a little tape in the middle here. And then while we're die cutting, I'm also going to bring in some white cardstock and I'm going to be using my blanket stitched rectangles. I'm going to bring in a card front panel and I'm going to use all 3 of these. So I'll just take these, just make sure they're all centered. And I will run all 3 of these and these through my die cut machine and I'll be right back. Okay, so our die cutting is all done and now we can put together our card. For today's card, I'm going to be using not the largest frame here. I'm going to be using the second largest here, okay? And I'm not going to need the inside piece to these 2 frames. We're going to be using these 3 on our card today. So we have 2 blanket stitched rectangles and then we have our decorative frame. We're going to take our largest. We're going to adhere this. This is an A2 frame, so it's going to fit my card base beautifully. I'm just going to use my tape runner. And we'll tack this down to the front of our card base. And then we have our decorative frame that I'm going to layer right over the top. And then we have this frame is going to go layered right in the middle. It almost looks like a quilted pattern. It's really pretty. But I did pop this up with foam tape for a little bit of dimension. So I'm going to remove the release paper here and we'll place this in the middle of our frames. Now we need to make our wreath. So I'm bringing in our florals and all we're going to do is create a pattern. I did pick out 4 of these little pieces for the corner. Let's go ahead and adhere these to the corner of our frame. So now we have the 4 corners done. Now for these, with the exception of the small berries, we're just going to create a pattern and I'm going to use my glue for this. So I'll start with one of my daisies. Next I'll take my berry. I'm going to add a little glue at the base of this flower and we can add our strawberry. And then we have these little berries. I'll add a little bit of glue here. And we'll go ahead and add these. And then I'm going to do the same thing all the way around. So next we're going to add a little glue behind our daisy. We'll add our strawberry. Then our berries. And there we go. And our frame's all done. Another way to do this would be to create a circle frame with white cardstock and then use that as a guide. But I think this worked out pretty good because we have that curve to all the flowers. Okay, we're going to go ahead and flip this over, and I'm going to put foam tape behind here. And then we'll take our frame, and I'm just going to place it right in the middle here. We'll just tack this down. And then we have our little strawberries. I'm not going to pop these up with foam tape, so I'm going to add just a little bits of glue where I want to layer these. For my greeting today, we're going to be using the Amazing Things stamp set, but really any kind of greeting that you have would work. I'm going to put it in the center of my wreath, and I'm going to use Thinking of You. And I do have the coordinating die set, so I'll cut that out with the coordinating die. I'm going to use my detail black ink to stamp my Thinking of You. And then I'll take the coordinating die, and I will run this through my die cut machine. While I was die cutting, I also die cut out a piece of foam with adhesive on it. This way I could layer, this is kind of a delicate greeting, so this way I could layer my Thinking of You on the foam when I have some dimension. This will fit perfectly on the inside of my card here. Lovely. Now I'm going to bring in some gems for finishing touches. These are the Pinkfresh Studio Glacier gems. And we're just going to add some to the flower centers. So now we have some sparkle. We'll just place these back. And that will finish my card today for Pinkfresh Studio. Hope you enjoyed my project. Have a lovely day. Thanks for stopping by.